1. The giant megamouth shark was discovered by the U.S. Navy in 1976. 2. Jellyfish sometimes evaporate. 3. A dog's sense of smell can be amazing. A Doberman once tracked a sheep thief for 100 miles by scent alone across the Great Karoo Plain in South Africa. 4. The rattlesnake or viper has special cells between its nostril and its eye. These are sensitive to infrared radiant heat and can locate people in the dark by the heat they give off. Number 5. The average caterpillar has 16 legs. 6. Snakes cannot cry. They do not have eyelids. Instead, their eyes are protected by a clear skin. 7. The okapi is one of the world's strangest animals. It has eyes that can look both ways at the same time, a see-through tongue which is up to 35 centimeters long, and 4 stomachs. It has the legs of a zebra, the body of an antelope, the walk of a giraffe, the speed of an ostrich, and the courage of a tiger. They spend almost all their lives on their own. 8. The only poisonous bird is the orange and black songbird, the hooded pitohui, discovered by accident in New Guinea in 1992. 9. Evelyn Franson of France found his cat Graffiti messy and noisy and gave him away to friends 100 miles away when he moved to a new job in 1995. A few months later, his friends told him that Graffiti had run away. In January 1997, Evelyn heard a scratching and screeching at his front door. It was Graffiti. The cat had spent 2 years making the journey through the foothills of the French Alps to his old owner's new home in Isère. Evelyn said, "I shall have to keep him now." 10. Emperor Napoleon of France was terrified by cats. 11. Rabbits can talk to each other by thumping their feet. 12. Swordfish can reach speeds of 60 miles an hour. 13. There are 30 species of slug in Britain. 14. The tarantula spider is said to be dangerous, but its bite is really harmless. At worst, it causes only a little swelling and some pain. 15. The fastest growing creature on Earth is the blue whale. From the time it begins growing to full growth, it increases up to 30,000 million times in size. 16. Dolphins have bigger brains than humans. 17. The male emperor penguin looks after the egg of its young for between 105 and 115 days in a temperature of about minus 16 degrees Celsius. During this time, it has nothing to eat and only survives by huddling together with other males on ice floes. 18. The ancient Egyptian army was once defeated by cats. The king of Persia came up with a plan. He sent soldiers with cats in their arms at the head of his army. The Egyptians, who treated cats as gods and worshipped them, refused to fight and fled. 19. Baboons cannot throw overarm. 20. Charles Cruft, who started the famous Crufts dog shows in London, never owned a dog and never went to his shows. He had a pet cat. 21. In Africa, elephants discovered a sort of penicillin before people. Sick elephants were seen using a type of slimy mold for wounds and drank it to make them better. Local native people saw this and began using the slime for their own cuts and sores. 22. The blue whale can grow up to over 30 meters long and weigh over 100 tons. It is the longest and heaviest animal ever known to have lived. The female is larger than the male. They can eat up to about 1,000 kilograms of the plankton krill at one time. When born, the baby blue whale, called a calf, is about 7 meters long. 23. The great horned owl is the only animal that will eat skunk. 24. The first guide dogs were used in Germany in a home for blind people in 1916. The first ever guide dog was called Excelsior. He was trained by a Dr. Gorlitz to lead a blind man across the lawn. After this worked, guide dogs were used all over Germany, then all over the world. 25. Ants seem to have monthly holidays when they do nothing. 26. Only half the world's spiders spin webs. The rest of them hunt for their food. The largest web is spun by the tropical golden orb web spider. Its web can be up to 1.5 meters across and held up by lines up to 6 meters long. The smallest web is made by the midget spider, less than 12 millimeters across. The web of a garden spider can have up to 30 meters of strong silk. This silk can be stretched 6 times its length without breaking, then returned to normal size. It is stronger than steel. 27. The sea otter never gets its skin wet when it goes in the sea. It has 2 coats of fur which keep its skin perfectly dry. 28. The kangaroo cannot jump if its tail is lifted off the ground. 29. A fly's taste buds are in its feet. 30. The turkey was given its name by the British. The French called this American bird the Indian bird. In Turkey, they are called American birds. 31. Packs of wolves travel up to 50 miles from their lairs in their search for food. When they move, they always try and keep to a straight line, moving at a trot. 32. The world's most traveled cat is probably a 3-year-old tabby called Tabitha, owned by American actress Carol Timmel. In 1995, Tabitha escaped from her carrier when she was in a jumbo jet flying across America. After a search, she could not be found. Over the next 12 days, the jumbo continued to fly back and forth across America. During this time, Tabitha's owner decided that the airline Tower Air had not made a proper search for her pet. So, when the jumbo landed, a second search for Tabitha was made. She was eventually found hiding behind a passenger compartment. Apart from being dirty, she was fine. No one was admitting what she might have eaten during her 12 days' journey. The total number of miles she flew while wandering the plane was over 30,000. 33. The first cat working for the post office to catch mice arrived in London in 1868. The cats which were used by the post office in Britain were paid £1 a week and all the mice you can catch. By 1983, the pay of cats was £2 a week. 34. Seals have been known to swim for as long as 8 months and as far as 6,000 miles without touching land. 35. An electric eel will short-circuit if it is put in salt rather than fresh water. 36. A mother cat, Scarlet, became a heroine in Brooklyn, New York, in April 1996. A fire broke out in an abandoned building. Several floors up, the stray Scarlet began to rescue all her 5 kittens, one by one. In and out she went. She carried each of them down in her mouth, made sure they were all right, and went back into the fire. Each time, her red fur got more burned, and her eyes were seared by the heat. Finally, she got the last of her kittens out. She stood guard over them until they were all rescued by firemen. Scarlet and her kittens all recovered. Hundreds of people heard the story and wanted to look after Scarlet and the kittens. 37. Earthworms have 5 hearts. 38. Bats can get too hot and get heat stroke. Thousands of bats were affected by the heat in Fort Worth, Texas, USA in 1989. They fell out of the sky onto buildings and into the busy streets. 39. A female elephant will always adopt a baby elephant which has lost its mother. 40. The ancient Egyptians shaved off their eyebrows to mourn the death of their cats. 41. A tortoise can live for up to 200 years. By contrast, the usual lifespan of a hamster is only 4 years. A tortoise which died in 1966 was 188 years old. It was presented to the King of Tonga in 1773 by Captain Cook. 42. Pigs have up to 44 teeth. 43. The average woodpecker pecks 20 times a second. 44. When on land, otters use their tail as a third leg to stand up, strut across the ground, or peer over objects in their path. When underwater, small flaps on their ears close up so they do not get water in them. 45. Shrews have 2 sorts of sounds. They twitter and scream. They only scream when they meet another shrew.